Welcome back to our channel, where we gather to share our enduring love and deep passion for the unforgettable stories of Port Charles. If there is one fundamental truth we have all learned after spending decades watching the captivating lives of our favorite Port Charles residents unfold, it is that time is an incredibly flexible, almost magical concept in the world of daytime television. We live our lives by a strict, unyielding calendar, but a soap opera operates on an entirely different temporal plane, stretching and compressing days, weeks, and even months to serve the ultimate master of emotional storytelling. Lately, this fascinating phenomenon of soap opera time has become the absolute center of attention among our dedicated viewing community, specifically regarding Portia Robinson and her seemingly endless pregnancy. As seasoned viewers who have been riding this emotional roller coaster for years, we cannot help but notice when the narrative timeline begins to stretch the boundaries of human biology, and Portia's current situation is providing us with a perfect, albeit slightly baffling, example of this classic television trope. When we take a moment to look back at the established timeline of events, the details surrounding Portia's pregnancy begin to look rather extraordinary. We all vividly remember the passionate encounter between her and Curtis Ashford that took place on the 15th of August last year. It was a moment charged with complex history and unresolved feelings, setting the stage for what we assumed would be a traditional 9-month journey toward parenthood. However, as we look at the calendar today, we realize with a collective sense of amusement and bewilderment that Portia has been carrying this child for well over 10 months. What makes this even more perplexing is the glaring absence of an official due date, leaving both the characters on screen and us viewers in a perpetual state of anticipation. It is only natural that we, as a deeply invested audience, find ourselves questioning the logic of this timeline, wondering just how much longer Portia will have to endure this miraculously extended gestation period before we finally get to welcome a new life into the turbulent Ashford family dynamic. This temporal anomaly has sparked a lively and highly entertaining conversation among our fellow longtime fans, many of whom have taken to social platforms to share their theories, frustrations, and humorous observations. I find it absolutely delightful to see how our community rationalizes these narrative quirks. Many astute viewers have pointed out that the show has never truly mirrored our real-world, day-to-day existence. They argue that because we only see Port Charles 5 days a week, their reality is inherently slower than ours, meaning that from a purely technical, in-universe standpoint, Portia might actually be right on schedule. It is a brilliant way to justify the pacing, reminding us that we are watching a curated window into their lives rather than a live documentary. Others have humorously noted how the show always manages to align major holidays with our real-world calendar, joking that it is a profound blessing this baby was not conceived on the 4th of July. Otherwise, the timeline discrepancies would be even more glaringly obvious. For those of us who have been watching General Hospital since the golden eras of the 80s and 90s, Portia's prolonged pregnancy is hardly unprecedented. In fact, it triggers a wave of profound nostalgia, reminding us of some of the most iconic and emotionally resonant storylines from the show's rich history. We all remember the deeply moving journey of Robin Scorpio Drake when she was pregnant with her beloved daughter Emma. That particular pregnancy felt as though it lasted for an entire year, stretching across countless seasons as the writers meticulously explored the profound emotional weight of Robin, an HIV-positive woman navigating the terrifying but hopeful path to motherhood. The extended timeline in Robin's case allowed us to fully absorb her fears, her triumphs, and the unwavering support of Patrick Drake. Similarly, we cannot forget the legendary Alexis Davis, who seemed to be pregnant with Molly for a full 12 months. During that chaotic era, Alexis was embroiled in intense battles, romantic betrayals, and family warfare, and the writers cleverly used her extended pregnancy to heighten the stakes of every single conflict she faced. These historical precedents remind us that in Port Charles, a delayed birth is rarely an oversight. Rather, it is a deliberate narrative strategy designed to maximize dramatic tension. When we apply this perspective to Portia's current predicament, it becomes entirely clear why the writers are keeping her in this state of prolonged anticipation. The environment surrounding Portia is currently a volatile powder keg of resentment, violence, and legal peril, and introducing a newborn into this chaos right now would completely shift the narrative focus. We must look closely at the explosive tension between Curtis Ashford and Portia's boyfriend, Isaiah Gannon. The situation has escalated far beyond a simple romantic rivalry or a minor disagreement. Curtis, driven by a complex cocktail of protective instincts, lingering possessiveness, and profound emotional turmoil, committed a shocking act of violence by physically assaulting Isaiah, resulting in a severely broken arm. This was not a mere scuffle. It was a brutal manifestation of the deep-seated fractures within this extended family. As a viewer, I find myself deeply conflicted by Curtis's actions. While we have always known him to be a man who fiercely protects those he loves, crossing the line into physical violence against a man who is currently a significant part of Portia's life represents a dark and deeply troubling turn for his character. This violent altercation has set off a devastating chain reaction that threatens to destroy the very fabric of their family, making the impending arrival of Portia's baby feel like a ticking time bomb rather than a joyous blessing. The legal ramifications of Curtis's actions are severe and unyielding. Assistant District Attorney Justine Turner is relentlessly pursuing this high-profile assault case, refusing to offer any sort of plea deal. This relentless legal pressure places an enormous, suffocating weight on everyone involved, especially as they attempt to maintain a facade of normalcy. This brings us to the incredibly fraught concept of Portia's baby shower. A baby shower is traditionally a sanctuary of warmth, love, and eager anticipation, a moment for a mother to be surrounded by the comforting embrace of her community. Yet, under these dark circumstances, Portia's shower is destined to be a battlefield. I can completely understand why Portia might be tempted to cancel the entire event. How can one celebrate new life when the father of the child is facing severe prison time for breaking the arm of the mother's current partner? The emotional dissonance is absolutely staggering. The tension at this gathering is guaranteed to reach a boiling point, particularly with the involvement of Jordan Ashford. Jordan's presence at the shower is a masterstroke of dramatic tension. As a former police commissioner and a woman with her own deep, complicated history with Curtis, Jordan represents the intersection of the law and deeply personal family loyalty. The fiery confrontation that is brewing between Jordan and Portia at this shower is something I am watching with a mixture of dread and absolute fascination. Portia is fiercely defensive, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the disaster unfolding around her, while Jordan is caught between her professional understanding of the law and her lingering emotional ties to the Ashford family. When these two powerful women clash amidst the pastel decorations and unopened baby gifts, it will lay bare all the unspoken resentments and fears that have been festering since the night of the assault. It forces us to ask a difficult question. Can a family truly heal when they are constantly tearing each other apart in the name of protection? Perhaps the most tragic casualty in all of this adult warfare is young Trina Robinson. As a longtime viewer, my heart absolutely aches for Trina. She has always been a loving, devoted daughter who somehow consistently finds herself trapped in the agonizing crossfire of her parents' dramatic choices. Right now, Trina is carrying an unimaginable burden. She is desperately trying to support her mother through this miraculously long and stressful pregnancy, while simultaneously watching her father figure, Curtis, face the destruction of his freedom and reputation. Furthermore, she must process the trauma of seeing Isaiah violently injured. All of this immense psychological pressure is piling onto Trina's shoulders just as she is trying to prepare for her highly anticipated art show, a milestone that should be entirely about her own talent and future. Instead, we are witnessing Trina slowly crumble under the weight of generational trauma and family scandal. It is a heartbreaking narrative thread, And it makes the observations of her friend Kai Taylor all the more poignant. Kai can see what the adults are too blinded by their own rage to notice, that the collateral damage of their war is destroying the brightest light in their family. When we synthesize all of these explosive elements, the mystery of Portia's 10-month pregnancy suddenly makes perfect dramatic sense. The writers of General Hospital are deliberately holding back the birth of this child because the storm has not yet fully broken. The baby represents a new beginning, a symbol of pure innocence, but poor Charles is not ready for innocence right now. The narrative demands that Curtis face the terrifying reality of a brutal trial with no plea deal. It demands that Portia and Jordan air their deepest grievances in the most inappropriate setting possible. It demands that Trina reach her absolute breaking point so that she can finally push her own boundaries away from the toxic cycle of her parents' lives. The extended pregnancy is a crucible, forcing every single character to confront their darkest fears and worst impulses before they are allowed the grace of welcoming a new life. As we continue to watch these incredible events unfold day by day, I find myself marveling at the enduring power of this television format. Yes, the timeline might defy medical science, and yes, we might chuckle at the thought of a pregnancy lasting from one August to the next summer, but the emotional truth of the story remains undeniably potent. We are deeply invested in Portia's struggles, Curtis's downfall, and Trina's survival. We will continue to tune in every single afternoon, eagerly anticipating the moment when the writers finally decide that the characters have suffered enough to earn the joy of a newborn baby. Until that day comes, we will analyze every tense conversation, every tearful confession, and every shocking courtroom revelation, because that is what we do as a community of devoted fans. We embrace the beautiful, messy, and perfectly timed chaos of Port Charles, knowing that the ultimate payoff will be worth every extended month of waiting.